Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Marquette. We're so glad you're with us today to stay curious with our partner and friend, artist Chris Calle. Hey, Chris.
Hey, man. How are you? I'm curious.
You are curious. And we are going to recap a wonderful ShuttleFest II that we had this weekend.
It was.
Wasn't without some difficulties and maybe a few mistakes or two, but we had a great beta test, too, of this. And Chris, great to have you part of it. We
Thanks.
featured your artwork. And what kind of a weekend was it for you, my friend?
It was a great weekend. I mean, I didn't talk to anybody who didn't have a fantastic time. It's a great mix, very reminiscent of how Space Fest always was in Arizona. It was a great mix of space talks, space art, memorabilia dealers. It was a great time. A little bit of something for everybody. Great venue at the Hyatt Place.
Yeah, thank you.
I had a great time, and everyone I spoke to had a great time.
Well, that's what we, the fellowship is what we feel is important as much as the
Yep.
content of some of the speakers and stuff. And when you get a lot of space geeks together, I think a lot of magic happens.
Sure.
And sometimes the party after the party is a lot of fun, too.
It was.
And getting together with people and enjoying an adult beverage or two and talking about, it was great that people in the circle of friends I was around after the conference want to talk about ways to improve it. They loved it. It's,
Absolutely.
Very important to our nonprofit that we anchor ourselves to something like this, and having people like you and Tom Musiak, Doug Forrest. Hello,
Yep.
Doug, out to
Hey,
you
Doug.
in Los Angeles. We're going to talk about you and good friend Ron Woods, your pictures there. A little recap of it, and we're going to have a special reveal of Doug Forrest's art piece that he designed just for ShuttleFest, and then we'll go out with a climax of the Chris Calle original artwork of his ShuttleFest piece there that I know you're all going to enjoy. Got to say hi to my partner Marty Winkle on our UCAC family microphone there, Marty. Good to see you. You worked your butt off and can't buy you enough free meals for what you did there, as he's one of our heartfelt volunteers here, Chris.
Absolutely.
Hello, Marty. What was your assessment of the weekend?
I thought it was great. I mean, we did a lot of work, but it was worth it. Mark, you did a great job organizing it. Like Chris said, I heard no complaints.
Yep.
And usually, if people have complaints, you're going to hear about it.
Sure. And I also think that, like you said, you had it last year, Space ShuttleFest 1. Now this is 2. We learned some things to do for the future. So I'm thrilled to be part of it and thrilled to be helping the museum in any way I can to promote the museum and space art, and just space in general. A lot of exciting things going on in the space community.
That's all we need to know. There is a lot of exciting things in the space community, and wish I was about 10 years younger
You and me
to
both.
see what's going to happen in there. But
Well, I'll tell you, there were a lot of young people at Yuri's night on Saturday night. So people from all walks of life, people from all age groups are really interested in
They
in
are.
space,
We after
past
ShuttleFest.
and future.
Yep. Those of you who don't know what Yuri's Night is, it's a celebration of Yuri Gagarin breaking the bonds of gravity and then being the first human being to orbit the Earth on April 12th, 1961. 20 years later, April 12th, 1981, the Space Shuttle Columbia was launched, and they're celebrating Yuri's Night under Atlantis.
At Kennedy Space Center.
At Kennedy Space Center.
And
a lot of people under 40 having a lot of ball, and all of us over 40 having a terrific people watching experience there of everybody having fun like we used to.
And in the days and week before, week after, there are other Yuri's nights all over. I think it's all over the world. I know
Yes,
there was
it is,
one in
absolutely.
Colorado. I know there was one in L.A. where Doug Forrest went. Doug went coast to coast.
Yes, Doug Forrest, God bless you. We're going to show a picture or two of you here. And we've got behind us here, and you're wearing a T-shirt there. This is a piece of your original artwork. We thought we'd throw up here a T-shirt that we sold some of those. We have these available at the American Space Museum. Maybe later this week we'll offer to sell them online. we'll see how many we have left from the weekend, but
And then people can come to ShuttleFest 3, and I can sign their T-shirt.
That's right. That's right. Tell us what this image is and what inspired you. There's some people think it's a photograph, but it's not.
Well, if you look at the original painting, or even one of the canvas prints that I have, you could see all that texture of all the paint in the clouds and in the blue and Ed White's spacesuit. But what it is it's the Gemini 4 mission. The first EVA, the first spacewalk. That's Ed White, astronaut Ed White, and Jim McDivitt was handling the camera, taking the reference photos, and I had a print of this at Yuri's Night, and I had a print of this at ShuttleFest, and people, like you said, they say it's so realistic. I always think that it doesn't look like a photograph; it's just very realistic.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get really close, you could tell all the paint quality. But there's a great story that goes along with it. I think I've told you, but maybe other people don't know. When I was working on this painting, I started thinking about Alan Bean and how astronaut Alan Bean and artist Alan Bean and how he would mix certain things from his Apollo 12 mission or in with his paintings, in with the paint and then paint with it. And I asked Jim McDivitt, the Apollo 9 and Gemini 4 astronaut, if he had anything that flew that he could, send me that I could use to do that. And he sent me these 3 little pieces of silver, like inch by inch pieces of silver. And I decided to scrape them down and mix it in Ed White's umbilical cord and some in his spacesuit. I called Alan Bean and I said, Alan, I'm working on this painting. And he's like, I really want to see that when you're done. And I said, I don't want to steal your thunder. But Jim gave me these pieces of silver. I'm mixing them in the paint, and I think it would be really cool and kind of a nod to you and something interesting to do. And he said, "Oh, Chris, I'm not going to live forever, and somebody's got to carry on this great tradition, and it's you." So I feel like I got the nod, I got the papal blessing from Alan. Can you continue doing that? And I've done it in a number of pieces. I've added something flown or something reminiscent of the image I'm portraying.
Well, absolutely, and yes, Alan, the great Alan Bean, great astronaut and awesome, then space artist. Literally, pass the torch to you, and then you're carrying it well. It's kind of a heavy torch to carry at times, maybe, but Marty, we have a comment from our Stay Curious watchers out there.
Yeah, Mark, you said, Chris, I will carry your bags next year.
I carry your bags.
It's kind of an inside joke. A lot of the events, the space events that Mark and I go to together, he's always helping me carry my bags and carry my artwork in and out, which is very interesting because there's a photograph. I should have sent it to you. You actually took it, of me carrying Doug Forrest's bag. So the tide has turned.
Oh, yes.
Yep, outside the hotel. Yep.
That was on my camera, my good camera. We're going to see some pictures I took with my cell phone.
Never to happen again, Doug.
Right. I will confess that we're a little burned out after a nice big weekend, and I got to sleep in on a Monday. I woke up, I thought it was a Sunday, so making no excuses for being about a half a day behind today. Another comment.
Yeah, from Dave Stangy. Hey, everyone. Happy Monday. Chris, you are becoming a regular on the show. Need to wear some Michigan gear next time.
Go blue, Dave. Well, I'm a regular only because I'm still in Florida. So I'm leaving today, but if I was here again tomorrow, I'd probably be on the show tomorrow if they'll have me.
It's getting a little chilly in here.
Get out of here.
Yeah, go Buckeyes. That team up north, we'll get them next year.
You want a match?
Don't need it.
Up there. This is the type of fun that if you're not a space geek, why you want to be, because we have a lot of fun. And this is not only a great artist, but he doesn't take himself so seriously. Not that those of you who do are wrong, but that's what makes it kind of fun. We're in a clique of people on the Space Coast here that appreciate each other, but we also love to poke fun at each other.
I've got a good friend, Mark Yerku, in Connecticut, who's got this great, one-liner. He says, I'm paraphrasing, but if I'm not having fun, I'm not going to do it.
There you go.
And I think that's
wise
words to live by.
Yep, exactly. So that's why we got the T-shirts on here. Thank you for my birthday T-shirt here, a Christmas T-shirt from somebody special out there. We cannot say enough thanks, Marty. What a great partnership we have forged with Robert Carmody and Dana Lavoisier at the Lavasser, I think she says it, at the Hyatt Place here. You've been to a heck of a lot of hotels around the world, my friend.
True.
So this one, how's it stack up? It's just a couple years old, and
it's a terrific hotel. The people, obviously, the employees there really are treating you guys and the event really well, and they've got a great launch viewing room up on the 5th floor that I'd like to see more of. But it's terrific. It's really
those of
really
you that
hotel.
were at ShuttleFest or at last year's and couldn't make it this year. One of the first things that's being talked about is having a breakfast with an astronaut up there at the launch viewing session there.
Perfect area.
And we did have an astronaut show up. We don't want to misadvertise anybody. We couldn't lock them down for various reasons, say who was going to be there. And we'll talk about that here in a second. We're very grateful to another artist, there, they put up there, Tim Gagnon. Thank you for your help. This is what I call the shield, our ShuttleFest shield. We're going to have a coin made of that next year. We were trying to effort that this year, and for maybe a good reason, it wasn't efforted. It. We may have lost a lot of money on that this year, but
I don't think so.
Well, you sold so much of your stuff. We're not going to allow you to sell that much stuff next year.
It's a beautiful design, Tim.
Yeah,
really
it is. Marty, lower my voice. Okay, lower my voice. All right, I will. We got two loud
How's
people
my
here.
hair, Marty?
Yeah. Anyway, Tim, he's the patch guy. He's also the chair guy. He set up Friday. He helped us set up.
Oh yeah.
The chairs and so forth. Thank you, Tim. We love this piece of your work, and we'll be promoting you more along the way as he's involved with ShuttleFest with his wonderful wife Lynn. And this was the program that we passed out to everybody. We started off with a legacy of the shuttle panel. With John Zarella, Nick Thomas, and Tom Usiak. We're going to see a picture of them here in a minute. I went through the mobile launcher platform, the mobile launch story, and then the Base to Space movie was featured there, and really a cool movie.
Very interesting.
Very interesting how this thing was disassembled. And we had Pete Charmote there. You're going to see a picture of Pete. He's a deconstruction expert or demolition expert. Family business. I really enjoyed that.
I did, and it was amazing. I mean, he was on Stay Curious last Friday.
Yes,
I was on it with him as well. And boy, afterwards, I just had so many questions. Such an interesting profession. I'm always fascinated. I know a lot about art, and so when I talk to artists, it's fun. But when I talk to somebody who I have no understanding of what they do, it's amazing. It was amazing the thing he was saying.
And Pete, we enjoy your company. You've got he's got a real
and your wife
interesting
Chrissy.
Attitude about everything.
And his wife Chrissy.
Yeah, his wife Chrissy. She's a big. She goes in and salvages stuff and finds the cool stuff to buy.
Great stories.
We're going to have her on with just her stories.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'm going to try to effort that later this week here. And then we had your panel at every ShuttleFest. We want to open up with a morning panel that looks at the legacy of the topic we choose. And yes, we've got the next three kind of lined out so we can acquire those astronauts that we want to enjoy talking to. And then we're going to have Chris every had a artist panel where we're going to have you tap a couple artists to bring in of your friends. This doesn't mean we don't want you back, Doug, okay?
Doug is always welcome.
But, of course, he's always welcome.
I got to say, I got a huge shout-out to Nick Thomas. He did a terrific job moderating all of the panels. I was super, super impressed with how he moderated ours. Really interesting questions and really kept it interesting and lively.
And we're going to have Nick, who's the astronaut wrangler at Kennedy Visitors Complex for Delaware North. We're going to have Nick back May 2nd, I think, is the Monday. And we're going to talk about Alan Shepard. And Nick, for 35 years, has been around all these Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo era astronauts, and boy, there's just a handful of them left. You better believe it.
It's amazing.
So it is amazing. And then we ended with this panel that I didn't have a picture in my phone on, Marty. This was a very interesting panel with Steve Lloyd, he's on our board, Rob Fabian, an important startup company via space. It's our local one here. And Anton Kirawas told us absolutely November 2024 is the date they're choosing to launch 4 humans to pass by the moon on there. And he is involved. He's looking up at Charlie Blackwell Thompson and getting her cue of the things he has to do in a launch control room. Anton, we really appreciate your involvement there. And a shout out to Ashley Nelson of the Public Affairs Office there at NASA, who I told her exceeded expectations with just not a normal PR slideshow of what Artemis was about, but one of the key figures was there, Anton Kirawas, and he extended his welcome to ask him any questions we can for Stay Curious, and we'll get him on one-on-one on Stay Curious one day. So just a fabulous day. Here is the morning panel. It was a hoot. We apologize that we had technical difficulties in the morning. We're not able to bring you stream live the morning panel, but Marty did record it, and we're going to try to clean it up in some fashion. That is John Zarella on the right, of course, with his mouth open talking to attentively listening, as always, Nick Thomas. And Tom Usiak, we love you, brother, up there. Glad that you're almost home. Talked to him almost back at Lancaster with Steve Nolte, another one of the characters that we enjoyed at ShuttleFest. You're watching this panel. It was about their legacy, what they thought it was. How'd you enjoy that?
I loved all the panels. It was really interesting to hear how the past was, and then later on to hear how the future is going to be. So I thought that was a really, really good way to bridge the two.
In John's legacy, he thought a shuttle was all of the countries that went up there. 25 different countries were taken to space on the shuttle. And how could that happen anyway else? The Netherlands doesn't have their own space program, and yet 2 astronauts are from there. Wolkels and another guy. That's Belgium. I'm saying Belgium. Sorry, don't jump on me for that, Belgium.
It was an international program.
Yeah.
Really, when you think about it.
Nick focused on, he thought the legacy was the spacewalks, and had a quite view on that. And then Tom Usiak pointed out some of the images that Joe and Jane America out there on the street would remember from the shuttle, like the one over John's head there, the silhouette of the shuttle against the great blue. Yes, Marty.
Yeah, Mark, I don't think Nick's legacy was the spacewalks itself. It was the ability to repair satellites and even retrieve satellites.
Yes, there you go. Yep. He elaborated on that, the spacewalking to do that. Thank you, Marty. How'd you enjoy this panel in particular? It was a lot of fun because John Zarella is a lot of fun, and I understand that his family's got a restaurant somewhere around here.
Me too.
Have you ever been to it?
I've actually been there many, many times, just like everybody else probably watching this show who's been down to the Space Coast.
Well, we had fun with that, but maybe they'll sponsor us next year.
Oh.
We'll see there. Yes, Marty, yeah. Do you have anything to say, Marty? No, okay.
I'm good.
Good. And then these are off my cell phone, and yes, astronaut Bruce Melnick showed up. Bruce was on the Base to Space DVD that we can happily sell you here at the museum. There's Nick on the left. That's Pete Charmut there in the middle of Frank Lynn Services, named after his son Frank and his daughter Lynn.
I like that.
Yeah, and that's how they say it, Frank Lynn, not Franklin. And there's you and Doug Forrest and Ron Woods and young man Chris Wade, Chris 2.0, Chris 2.0 there. And though he wasn't a featured artist, tell us why Chris was there.
Well, I said it during the panel, and I've said it before, and I'll say it after. Chris, I think he's an artist, really talented artist, and I think he has a very unique style, a very unique perspective. And for ShuttleFest, it was perfect because a lot of his work deals with the space shuttle. and I think he's a really interesting artist. So.
And we'll and
gonna see
that's
more of him.
and that's what we've really want you to do, is to hand pick kind of somebody out there that you can tap the scepter on and say
no scepter here.
and say you got some chops, kid, girl or boy, and encourage them.
Sure.
Well, that is important, though.
I think so. Well, it's like anything,
yeah.
Giving back, and I'm sounding my father now. I'm old enough now that I feel like I'm ready to give back. So I just think, I don't know, I've got some knowledge, I know some things, and I'm happy to help somebody younger than me.
Of course, Chris's father, the Paul Calle, the artist, one of the first 8 allowed on the Space Center during Gordon Cooper's launch by the great James Webb, saw that we needed more than these cameras and movie projectors out here. We need the sketch artist, the sculptor, the whatever in there, and
You're reminding me of a quote I want to read.
all right. Well, there we had, hey, Daniel DeYoung, great to have you. There's our
Hey.
Spirit Airline pilot there.
Here, let me jump in for a
Lieutenant there.
second.
Sure.
So you're saying what James Webb said about the need artists to document this as well, and here's a quote from James Dean, who is NASA's Fine Art Program Director. At its inception and all throughout Gemini, Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo. And here's a comment about my father, but it stands for all the artists during that program. He says, Paul Calle's work proves that this country is not only able to produce scientists, engineers, and astronauts capable of remarkable achievements, but also artists of equal ability, good company on a long and sometimes perilous journey.
Oh, wow.
And Michael Collins, in his book Carrying the Fire, mentions something similar when he talks about my father in the suiting up room for Apollo 11, that here was an artist. I think it's basically, he says, here we had an artist with us, Paul Calle, a professional, hopefully among other professionals. I always found that kind of funny.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Mr. Callie's work. There's, I messed up this. That'll be my copy. Okay. Just wanted to show the stamps that you all know. The First Man stamp, that's Mr. Paul Calle's, who
It's an iconic image. I think.
image. And then you followed your father by doing the 20th anniversary.
Yes,
stamp
my father
on there.
designed the 1969 Man on the Moon stamp. I did the 20th anniversary, then we jointly did the 25th anniversary stamps.
So we'll see a couple sketches of Paul's here in a minute. He's passed on, but your dad's legacy is another one that we want to embrace here at Stay Curious. Is so many iconic images, including he did a Gemini spacewalk stamp too.
Yeah,
did he?
the Ed White postage stamp,
double,
the Satenna stamp, where it's one painting broken into two stamps.
All right. Well, here we are with Melnick there. There's Doug Forrest, and I'll be sending you that picture, Doug, if I hadn't already. I think maybe I did. And again, Daniel DeYoung, we're so glad that you spent your time here with us. He's born in the Netherlands, and he flies American Airways for Spirit Airline. And just another, I'm glad you're in that picture, Daniel, because he's another one that we've attracted to this museum.
Great guy.
That's,
his wife.
he's just a space geek.
Yep.
And
his wife too.
Yeah, his wife is Ukrainian, and they have a museum in Ukraine that she's dealing with, helping get things for and so forth. So, but thank you, Bruce, for showing up there. We actually had another astronaut that was going to come that had a medical issue. He's fine with it and all. Just some unexpected surgery happened, and of course Nicole Stott would have been there, but she said she had to do something in Houston on Saturday. So,
well, we have a year to plan.
That's
for next
right.
year.
That's right. And tell us who that guy is.
Ronnie Woods. So
Ron
I
Woods.
just, the amazing thing about Ron, I mean, great guy. Everybody knows that and says that, but. And a great artist, and some people forget for a moment that he was the tech suiting up Buzz Aldrin for Apollo 11. I mean, Ronnie was, I guess he was just probably like, what, a 19-year-old kid, maybe?
Yeah, incredible. We know how old he is, and I'm saying, you don't seem like you're old enough looking to go to that, but glad you enjoyed your time there, Ron Woods. We're going to be in touch with you and promote your work.
Always great to see Ron.
Always great to see Ron. Here's a little gallery we had set up there for Ron and Doug and Chris. Chris is there on the right. That's some of his.
That's Chris Wade.
Yep, I'm going to show you a picture of each one of them there. But people got to see up close their work and buy it. And there's Chris Wade's a special thing he did for astronaut Linehan, who was a spacewalker on the shuttle. I mean, the Hubble on the shuttle. His dog, a image of the Hubble telescope, and like you said, he separated himself from the crowd.
Sure. Yep. Unique perspective is how I put it.
So, Chris Wade, thank you for your participation, and stay in touch. And here's one of Ron's pieces that I want you to explain. Of course, there are familiar astronauts there, but they're just not their names. They're specially put on the names on there.
I don't know about that.
The stamps.
Oh, you could explain.
Oh,
that
okay.
better.
Yeah, Ron told me that those are the stamps that they would use to put on things,
the beta cloth.
On the beta cloth and whatnot, to even prioritize that this is theirs in that box or whatever. But on the beta cloth, so he had those stamps, and his type of work there. What are we looking at? I'm not sure what section that is of the suit room.
That's not the suit room. I think Marty would know that.
I have no idea. Looks like a R2D2 type.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just call it Ron's version.
Ron's
of
version.
A droid.
Yeah. Wanted to show a piece of your work up there. Then, we don't have too long of a program here today, and that's okay. I mean, wanted to set up here that both you, Doug Forrest, out there, and Chris Calle here, actually knowing that you would be at ShuttleFest ahead of time, created some works of art for us there.
We did.
And you're always inspired to do something specific, correct?
Inspired by you, Mark.
Oh, okay. Well, here's what Doug was inspired by me to do, and I love this. Okay. Again, a pencil of the Endeavor, all right? And this is his series of the last shuttle or last hurrah. And a comment, yes. Doug, and then, yes, go ahead, Marty.
Okay, we got a comment from Doug Forrest. He says, those are chest connectors on Ron's paintings.
Chest connectors.
Chest connector.
Ah, okay, yeah. Oh, those are the things that go on the chest there. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I can see that there. Thank you. Because when I took a picture of it, I thought it was something at the time, but...
All right, Doug is now our official historian, our art historian.
And Doug, comment if you want about your little masterpieces here. I know he takes a long time for these things, just like you do, but the patina that he puts on there, that you see of like that spaceship has been to space there. And then this is it going out to Los Angeles, where you are at, Doug. He's not too far from the Los Angeles Science Museum there, between there and Pasadena, JPL, I believe.
Sure.
And that is the Space Carrier aircraft, the 747, the SCA, with Endeavor going back to its permanent home.
I always found that fascinating.
Oh my
they
God!
had the shuttle on top. That always blew my mind.
If you were going to bring the Wright brothers back, in time, and show them one image of how things have progressed, I would show them that.
Yeah, sure. A plane carrying a spaceship.
Yeah, right. Marty, comment from Doug or somebody else?
Yeah, on the previous paint, this print right here, I bought one of those from Doug.
Oh, that's it.
And he gave me the friends and family discount, which was 0.0%. Thank you, Doug.
Yeah. You gave me the same discount there, but we'll. Yeah, but no, thank you, Doug. I know a little bit about what these two guys do. Okay, on a very professional level, and there's a lot of man hours in that there, and
Absolutely.
some patience that I just don't have. But you did a great job, I think, on showing the patina on that. And you all are interested in these. I believe I've got their websites up here in a minute, that we can put you in touch with them. All right. And how much percentage we want, Marty? 25, 30?
I'm not sure. Well, no comment.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. But there's that one there. And there is a Paul Calle sketch of Neil Armstrong and his famous power,
Yep.
the launch of an Atlas rocket off of Pad 36. And then and then your what we're showing off today. What I love about Chris's picture of the Ed White spacewalk is, and we lost him just a few months ago, but you personally got to talk to
Lost who?
McDivitt. You got to talk to Jim McDivitt.
Yeah, Jim was a good friend.
About some details about this.
Sure.
And of course, he took those famous pictures.
And he actually the painting's probably about 34 by 48, and there's a lot more black on the left than the image there, and there's a lot more black on the top. And Jim actually signed the original painting, and he wrote my view of Ed White's spacewalk.
Yeah, Marty, a question?
Yeah, Mark Easy, question for Mark. Have you shown Chris your latest sketchbook, and what does he think of your work?
Yes.
Oh, well.
I'll answer that. He showed it to me right before the broadcast, and I love it. I had seen it before, and I love what he's doing now because he has notes about different missions, and then he does a pencil drawing, and then he has one of the astronauts sign it. And it's the drawing has something to do with what the astronaut, one of the astronauts' missions. So I think they're terrific.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Forrest, their pencil, you better be careful.
Yeah, right. Well, we talked about that over at the Irish pub there, where we were got our intellectual attitude on back there for a little bit.
We were
there,
relaxed
but,
after our Yuri's night.
Now, Doug and I talked about some techniques. You know, he's I'm not quite up to my level. I can talk to you about techniques. But I
You can always talk to me.
about
You can always talk to me.
in there. Well,
Anybody
shaving
can talk
off
to me.
metal and all that kind of stuff.
That's
I mean,
different.
but no, I've always loved sketching some things and being around these titans of the industry.
Well, my
kinda
dad,
inspired
I
me
mean,
to-
his illustration career, he started out doing scratchbook work, where you start out with a black, an inked blackboard, and you scrape out, white from that, and that's how he started with scratchboard. But his pencil drawing, I mean, he throughout his illustration career, he was known for his pencil drawing, and one of the big things my father, I think, was a genius at doing was, and he shows this in some of the NASA work, is the lack of drawing. It's leaving the white space, leaving that space for your imagination and your brain to finish. I think he was really a genius with that. So Mark's got.
Thank you for that, Mark, giving me that shout out there.
Marquette has artistic talent. Doug and even Marty Winkle has artistic talent. If we can see that, there's one of Marty's drawings. I'm saving that one.
It's going through there. It
That's my
says
third rendition.
it's a stick figure. He's got a stick figure of a guy there,
It
Marty.
took him 3 tries,
Yeah.
but it looks great, man.
Well, that's why those space shuttle main engines were flawless, because we had
Right.
non-artistic
People like Marty.
thinking people like Marty on there at all. It just
Marty, is
stayed
this
in there.
Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin? I can't
Stick
quite tell.
figure.
It has to be Buzz.
It's a
Okay.
stick figure he made there, folks. Thank you, Mark, for that shout out. And I know Dave Stangy's wanting to know what it looks like we're talking about. So I'll take a picture of one day. What my idea was, we love going out and seeing our artists, our astronauts, and getting them to autograph something. And I'm not such a collector type guy, but people are out there getting lithographs and pictures and maybe a special book and stuff like that, autographed. And I kind of wanted something personal to leave my daughter Jessica and my granddaughter McKinley someday that might be a little bit different, and the astronauts kind of like it, and I'm learning how to do something that I like to do. So thank you for pointing that out.
It's a great idea.
And and I don't know if. Don't count on coming to ShuttleFest and helping him, okay? Because I think I've worked out the routine for you there.
Well, that's true. That's true. Sorry, Mark Yusiak.
I had the gray suits. There was no blue M&Ms in there. The sable lining of my Jeep was there for your precious
I had a very
cargo.
long rider. Of my
He had a long
demands.
rider here. And of course, we tease about who's the best attaché for you there, Mr. Calle. But let's just show here as we, Marty, you got our friends that are watching today and having a good time here with artist Chris Calle. He's going to go back home to his area of, tell us where home is, Chris.
Connecticut. Yep. I'm heading up there tonight.
Which town is it?
Ridgefield.
Ridgefield, okay. And I have swam in the summertime in the coldest lake I've ever been in the summer. Lake Candlewood.
That's
outside
not
of
that far from us.
Danbury area.
That's
there.
not that far away.
No, really? You agree with me? It's a pretty cold lake.
I haven't been in it in a long time, but we had a really mild winter, so I'm not so sure it's going to be so cold this summer.
Well, good. Well, I can't wait to see your spread someday when you invite me up there.
Come on to the studio.
This is your piece for Artemis that you've been promoting for over a year.
I did that last year. Actually, I did that as a response to Artemis, and there was a small print made. Last year I gave a talk at the Astronaut Scholarship Foundation's Space Rendezvous Hall of Fame weekend, and I gave a talk on space art from my dad's perspective and from the early artists. And everyone who came to that talk received a print of this. And I'm doing something similar this year. I'm not giving a talk, but they're having a panel for Skylab, a Skylab panel.
The 50th anniversary of Skylab.
Yep. And I'm working on a montage painting like this. I'll have the original there, and same thing. People will get a small canvas.
Well,
print.
Bad Bobby, Jack Lousma better be in
Jack
there,
supposedly
or
will
I'm
be
going to
there.
be mad.
Yep. No, he'll be prominently displayed.
As you see, this is departs from your single image portraiture and so forth. So are you kind of reaching into a new creative mode here?
Not really. I mean,
montage. You call these montages?
I call them montages. But when I was an illustrator, I did something very similar. So it's not really a departure. It's sort of recapturing what I've done in the past. Except back then there was no digital, way of putting a sketch or image together. Yeah, and what I would do is I would have photocopies, and I would glue them on, the paper, and I would draw and paint on top of them, and it's the same basic technique, only made easier by the digital technology. So I'm still, it's a combination of drawing, painting, and photography.
Okay.
So I'm really, what I'm enthused about with these is you can pack a lot of imagery into it, and there's all these like hidden little Easter eggs and stuff. But there's a main image you can look at, but then when you start looking at the little details, there's a lot more going on.
Well, Marty, cue up the drum roll there. We're going to show Chris Calle's original piece of artwork that he revealed at ShuttleFest.
I did it for ShuttleFest.
Yes, for
so this is a similar piece, and each one of these I've been using. I started this series with the first with what was it, Apollo 8 50th anniversary back in 2018.
Ooh, I haven't seen that one, I don't think.
Yeah, I did like 4 of them, and they were all displayed at the big gala at the the Adler Planetarium. And
Home Away from Home for Jim Lovell.
There you
they
go.
Had a restaurant
and,
there, I believe.
And the whole crew was there: Bill Anders, Jim Lovell, and Frank Borman. And I had also done I was working on an Earthrise painting. And I was going back and forth it's an interesting story. I was going back and forth talking to Bill Anders, through some emails, who I've known since he was friends with my dad. And, asking him some questions about colors and, what'd you see on the moon and stuff, or of the moon. And it was the craziest thing. All of a sudden, he must have forwarded my email to Borman and Lovell. And so next thing I know, I'm on an email chain where Borman, Lovell, and Anders are all talking, and I'm just CC'd on everything, and they're joking about, who's gonna say they took the picture? I mean, it was so funny. It was like really insightful.
Picture.
Yeah, the Earthrise picture. I felt like I was a fly on the wall, but that was a lot of fun. So I started doing these montages for that. I displayed, I think, 4 of them, including the Earthrise. They unveiled the Earthrise at that event. And for each of the 50th anniversaries, I've been doing it. I call it We Choose the Moon, which is the series. And so Kennedy, there's a detail of Kennedy somewhere in each one, as well as a lot of other historical imagery.
You need to send me those images here, but this image here, of course, the Apollo 8 Earthrise, so iconic. You have it up there in the upper right-hand corner.
Yep. And that's actually a painting I did.
And I know some of you are all wanting to see more of Chris's work, and you're having your website reconstructed.
Yeah, so
is that right?
Yep. My website's up now, but completely updating it. Should be rolling it out by the end of
CalleSpaceArt.com.
Yeah, www.CalleSpaceArt.com. Should be rolling out the new one.
And you have ways to purchase your work there.
And for now, people can just email me. My email's on the website, and you can find it anywhere.
So what you've repeated the My Heroes, the Mercury astronauts, in 2 of these masterpieces.
Yep.
And why?
The first one was when I did that piece last year for the Artemis piece for the Astronaut Scholarship Foundation, that was founded basically, by that group. So I wanted to include that, and it just seems like that's an image it heralds back to the beginning. There was a lot of things that happened before the early '60s, as far as space interest, but that's an iconic image, and immediately you say that's the start of manned space exploration with those astronauts. So I wanted to include those two. I don't think I'm going to include it in the shuttle one, because this is the shuttle piece the Skylab piece.
Yeah.
Because that's a specific piece just on Skylab. But I may hide them, somewhere as a little Easter egg.
Well,
I will actually.
Us baby boomers, if you would think of, close your eyes, and what are the most iconic images of the 60-year space age? Of course, the visor shot of Buzz Aldrin's probably number one.
Sure.
This is number two or four there.
It's up there.
That one, because that just says every magazine, newspaper in 1960 had that one as soon as they got it, and they always go back to
those were the guys in the day.
Those were the guys. Those were my space heroes, none of whom are alive, of course, and we still keep their memory fresh, as does the Astronaut Scholarship Foundation. Absolutely. Thank you for their participation.
Yeah, they were at ShuttleFest.
Vendors at ShuttleFest.
Yeah.
We're thrilled to have them involved in it, as well as a shout out to this guy, why don't you there, who vended with us.
Carlton Bailey. Photographer
CB.
Carlton Bailey. It was great to see him. Always great to see him. Great
Cynthia
to see
Rossi, good. She was there with her husband.
Cynthia was there, yeah. And Carlton, it's always
Give some
great.
other shout outs.
Carlton, it's always great to see a different shirt.
Yes,
love those shirts.
He had his cat riding a shark shirt on.
I loved it.
In outer space.
I loved it. All right, so shout out to Mark Usiak, we already did. Doug Forrest, we already did. Carlton. Tom Usiak, who's almost home. Well, he should be home by now, maybe.
Yeah.
Ophelia Sartre.
Normandy, France.
Wow, hello. Gary Jeriel.
That's our peanut farmer up in
Dave Stange,
Collins, Georgia.
Dave Stange twice on this list. That means he's watching on two screens. Steve Hammer.
So that's you Wolverines, always badgering everybody.
Go blue, Dave.
No
Steve
way.
Hammer.
Scarlet and gray.
Go blue. Bill Whiting. Go blue. Boiler hat. Boiler hat.
Okay. Boiler up for the Purdue Knots.
Robert Katz, go blue.
Robert Katz is the distinguished gentleman there in the black with the yellow usually wears there. Robert, yes,
absolutely. Cynthia Rothy and many others watching today.
Yeah, we're so glad. Glad that you're kicking us off another show today. Actually, we're going to be approaching 800 episodes this week, Marty.
Wow.
Wednesday, I know we're going to have Mikey Haddad here talk about a wonderful April payload of NeuroLab. Figure out all them things, figure out how our brain works in space.
That's going to be a much more serious conversation.
Yes, it will with Mikey. And trying to figure out if we got any other things going on. I know we're going to celebrate April 20th, the landing of Apollo 16 on the moon. All right, so that'll be.
You have to remind me.
That's Thursday. I've got Doug McKinnon coming Thursday, and he wrote a book where it's a very famous book. You all know it, but I forget the name. Where each moonwalker is interviewed by this guy. It's more of a question and answer type of book.
All right.
And Doug's going to be here Thursday. So, like I said, being a little lazy on a Monday morning. We've had rain here on the Space Coast. Oh, my God.
That's
bad for you, because I wanted to go out and take you out to the beach and get some sun on that
that
pale rider there. But anyway, we wanted to also go out thanking Ann Miklos for sharing her wonderful image of the space shuttle throughout our promotion of ShuttleFest II. I know Larry Pushker enjoys this image. Thank you for watching today, Larry. Saw Ann in the building today. This is the rollout of the last shuttle, STS-135. Each year we're going to choose kind of an iconic image like this, feature.
For ShuttleFest?
Yeah, for ShuttleFest promotion.
When is ShuttleFest next year?
Well, I'm glad that you asked, because we want to do it the closest to the April 12th date of STS-1. So that is Saturday, April 13th. So we're penciling in April 13th. That is not Easter. I just want to check a couple other possible conflicts on that and make sure it's not those Navy planes flying overhead or whatever, because we were hurt a little bit by the Thunderbirds being on the coast there. But those of you that came, we appreciate you. Financially, it was a break-even deal for us, if not a little bit in the black. But the real reward is the fellowship that people enjoyed out there.
It was a good time was had by all.
A good time was had by all. So, Marty, we have anything to button up on our Streamlabs program here today?
Nope, we're good to go.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody chiming in. Chris, really appreciate you, my friend.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
Always a pleasure.
We're going to get you to the airport in time, we hope. If we don't, we'll
that's
keep
the
you
plan.
around here for another.
Okay.
I got plenty of pencils. Maybe you could
Stay tuned
sketch
tomorrow.
out
I'll
some
be
for
back
us.
on tomorrow.
Yeah, right. Exactly in there. But we appreciate everybody watching us on Stay Curious today, and we promise you some space history, astronaut birthdays, and of course the latest update of what's going on out there in Texas with Starship that didn't get off the ground today, but that's all right. We'll get her off there.
For sure.
But Marty, thank you. Thank you to our wonderful executive director, Karan Conklin, for turning me loose on this ShuttleFest stuff. And our whole museum here is ready for you to come in this summer and enjoy the experience. So until tomorrow, I'm Marquette saying we can't wait to see you again to bridge the space between us.
Bye, guys and gals. Thanks.